Ahoy! New World is not done with the bans from last week yet, and have instead extended them. Beyond that, we also got a small patch with some pretty important fixes. But let's begin with the bans, because that is the exact opposite of what I said the other day. My in-game notice had gone from being unbanned on Saturday to being unbanned on Friday, so cutting down the total days of bans by 1. However, when I tried to log in on Friday, I couldn't log in anyways. I'm guessing there was some kind of error in the date system, in the time system, maybe because I'm in Australia or something, but either way, I was actually still banned. And now we've received multiple new messages from the devs. The first one is from Katie. Regarding penalty extensions, the team is still working on removing items and gold related to the server rules issue from last Friday. As that work is completed, most penalties will be removed. In some instances, the penalty will remain. More comms will be coming out from official channels as the work is being done. We have been heads down in getting this done as quickly but also as completely as possible. Sorry for the radio silence, it's not intentional for sure. She further also suggested that instead of appealing bans in this very moment, wait until it's confirmed that the work on the bans is done. So this temporary ban that is on everyone right now is lifted, and then if you're still banned at that point, appeal the ban. Additionally, there was also a statement from New World themselves. Accounts with characters that transferred into standard and seasonal worlds during the time period where the server rules were not being applied correctly have had their penalties extended. This extension was applied so teams can continue removing items associated with the economy on those worlds. We will review the actions taken by these characters on a case-by-case basis to determine if more permanent penalties need to be applied. As we complete this work, many of those with penalties in place now who did not participate in economy-impacting behaviors will see the suspensions removed. We'll have more information as efforts progress. If you appreciate this update so far, consider subscribing and clicking the bell. I've already talked about my own ban and said that I'm okay with it, but I think the situation here in general comes with some significant problems. As most of you are probably aware, there are multiple people affected by the ban that didn't transfer any characters. And as far as severity of the punishment goes, everyone is on the same level so far, which is going to be really weird at some point. Of course, considering they're looking at this on a case-by-case basis, it makes sense that they need more time figuring it out. However, that means that somebody who maybe bought something from the trading post only, somebody who only got a buy order for them filled, somebody who got traded an item, somebody who created a character on a PvP server during the time frame may still be banned for that activity without having any involvement with the actual exploit and just being unaware. Now, of course, there is a difficulty here of verifying the individual reports that are coming in from people, but from what I am hearing, it's certainly beyond just people who did transfers. Furthermore, it seems like there were additional bans going out today on top of the ones that we already had, once again affecting people that are not involved in the character transfers themselves, but rather probably through the trading post. This would make sense if they're digging into things further and basically finding connections of things that have been traded multiple times or something like that. The standards here just don't hold up anymore. On one hand, you have people that are banned for some very, very minor things that shouldn't even necessarily be considered offenses in the first place. And on the other hand, you have people in the past that have been banned for shorter than that, for abusing massive in-game exploits, or people who've been banned for very short times, or even just chat muted for being extremely insulting towards others consistently. And here's the thing, this probably could have been avoided if they just did the thing that everyone was asking for in the Discord at that point, to the degree that they actually ended up muting the words or emojis that were used to say it. Because everyone was asking for a rollback, and the rollback just didn't happen. Most of this was happening at peak times for the AP Southeast servers, but way out of the normal hours for most other servers. So rolling back at that point wouldn't have been a massive impact for a massive portion of the player base. Yes, it would have affected some people, but it would have also sorted things a lot quicker overall in terms of economy, in terms of especially how the PvP servers feel, if they actually still feel fresh and everything. And yeah, it just seems like it would have been a much more effective option. Question is, were they even able to do a rollback, or was that not even an option for them in the first place? As far as we're aware, they should be able to do rollbacks, but maybe they've changed the technology, or the last point that they called rollback to was just too far back or something like that. I'm not sure. But either way, it seems that a lot of people are now getting punished for them not being able to roll back the servers, because I think a lot of the people that were in some way affected would have otherwise already been unbanned. Again, not saying that that includes me. I obviously transferred a character into one of those servers with 2,000 gold, but I think a lot of other people are not in that same boat and still affected in the same way. I want to show you the two sides of this a little bit. On one hand, we have, for example, Male Oreo, who was also affected by the ban, who said, no one should get perm banned for your mistakes. Moreover, absolutely no one should get banned for buying stuff from the trade post placed by a bad actor. This all falls on you. Take accountability, say sorry, lift the bans and move on. On the very opposite side of this, we have people saying that everyone who got a ban from this at all should be permabanned. And also that Amazon has no fault in this at all, and that I should have trouble sleeping at night. And other funny things that you find in the YouTube spam filter. Now, if you've watched my videos for a while, you probably know where I stand here. I think there's a middle ground. I think there's some nuance to be had here. Should no one at all be permanently banned for this? No, I don't think so. I think there are people who already have multiple offenses before this, have maybe tried to manipulate the economy through exploits, have had their warning shots, and have tried to manipulate the economy here as much as possible as well, and potentially try to break the new servers by transferring in massive amount of gold, buying territories and all that. I think there's probably a few people there that should get a permaban out of this. Should everyone who tried this at all get a permaban? Also no. Obviously there are worse offenders and there are repeat offenders, and then there are people who only transferred one character and didn't do anything else, or people who transferred a character and maybe some items, or maybe a little bit of gold, or did one or two trades, or did more trades. And I think there's a scale there, which AGS seems to agree with, in terms of how much punishment should be applied depending on how much they did. But again, the problem is that they keep extending the ban because they're not able to sort it out in time, and that punishes those who have done lesser offenses more, because many of them should technically probably be unbanned already, following the rules that AGS normally applies when it comes to banning. And the very same thing goes for the question if it's the dev's fault or not. Yeah, somebody there messed up massively in order to be able to even transfer into those servers, and I think that should be taken into account when it comes to the punishments. The option was given by Amazon in the first place. They were the ones who somehow broke the servers with their patch. They were also the ones who weren't ready to do a rollback when everyone asked for it. But on the other hand, of course, the devs were not holding people at gunpoint, forcing them to create new characters on those servers or transfer characters in. So again, I think there is a middle ground here. I think a big part of the frustration of why people were doing this in the first place when it comes to older players is also the whole fresh start versus old server situation, where basically most players were forced to start again on new servers unless you're in a very big server in NA or EU, kind of leaving behind your old character entirely with everything you farmed over the years, which a lot of people are obviously not happy with. So when they saw the opportunity to move things over, they did that. And in my opinion, especially for smaller regions, Amazon has not found a good solution for that yet. But as I said, there was also a small patch. The first change was a fix to the Blunderbuss basic attack, which would not deal damage when using the Unload ultimate along with Nature's Wrath, because that was apparently classified as an Empower. Additionally, the black dye was not true black and is now apparently even working on certain metal textures, so that's more usable. There were also a couple other small fixes that you can see here. Feel free to pause if you're interested in the details. Relatively minor stuff. When we have more info on the situation, I'll of course update you, so consider subscribing and clicking the bell. Also, if you want to hear more about June in the next days. And if you'd like to support me further and get early trading tips, you can do so on my Patreon. Thanks to all of my patrons who already do exactly that, and thank you for watching. Sloth, out.